What's going on, guys? 360 Digital Closing Bell here. I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, live on YouTube from an undisclosed location here in Denver, Colorado for the June 15th, 2020. It is a beautiful Monday. Really hot, as I just told Stuart Turley, who's the director and publisher of oilandgas360.com. He joins us live from an undisclosed location in Dallas. How you doing today, Stu?
I'm doing fantastic, Michael. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Beautiful day to start off this week on this Monday. If you are not subscribed to the 360 Digital Closing Bell on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please pause the show. Go do that right now. The best place for all of your energy market finances. We talked a lot about bankruptcies in that first segment on the podcast that dropped this morning, and that's going to sort of be the theme of my couple big things when we dive in. Stu's got some great stuff, the international news desk. But first, we got to dive into the digital ticker. U.S. equities wise, sort of a par day. We're actually down as much as 2.5%, but Jay Powell at about 2 o'clock Eastern time or about noon Mountain Standard Time actually came out and basically pledged that the Federal Reserve can continue a bunch of their corporate bond purchases, which actually rallied the market. Finally finished the SPY at 3066, only up about 0.8% or about 25 points on the day. Tech stocks doing just a little bit better, 97.55 for the NASDAQ. That's about 91 points or about 1 clear percentage point on the north. Dow Jones finishes up only about 0.6 percentage points, though, 25,763 or about 175 points. Crude oil has a nice good day, 2% on the day after opening last night very close. I saw $34 when I woke up this morning at about 4 or 5 a.m. here. So it was a low number, rose back like it's at an 83-cent gain off the open, which was about $36, was about 36.20 when it opened last night for 37.10, currently trading at back end of the curve for crude oil, 39.57, so 2.5% on that index, up $1. Natural gas, as always, the only red number on the day, down to $1.67 or about 3.1%. I'm tired of reading reports of, we'll get into it later. I digress. Natural gas 12-month strip, $2.79, down 1 full percentage point or about 3 cents. XOP, which is our EMP securities contract, 58.56. That's a 0.9 percentage points increase. So a good day for our EMP securities, or about 50 cents on that index. OIH, which are oilfield services contract, $134, up 0.5 percentage points. That's about a 72% win. So a decent day for both our equities and our securities. When we look on the downside, though, a lot of big red numbers, though. I know that percentage was 0.9 on the upside. Bigger red numbers on for the downside than the upside, though, just because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, which we'll get into. Alliance Resources Partners, $3.70, 8 percentage points down. Barnwell Industries down to 66 cents or 9%. And Extraction Oil and Gas, at Denver-based operator, down 18 percentage points to 52 cents. If you're not already registered or have checked out the oilandgasconference.com, I highly recommend you do that right now. It is the best investor relations conference, and it's going digital, so you're going to be able to access it from anywhere. Special for both COVID and their 25-year anniversary. So this has been something that's been going on. I had an opportunity to read the history of the of the conference, and it's just really cool to see how it started. I would encourage you to check out the oilandgasconference.com if you want to learn more or learn how to register. Stu, what do you got on the international news desk today?
Hey, I got an interesting one. There's a bunch going on around the world, but we have interviewed Alex Epstein before, and he's always his idea is that energy should be affordable to everyone, kind of like Gregory Wrightstone. And in India, they are putting out of New Delhi, they are putting a natural gas tariff across the country to make it affordable to get natural gas all across the country, to get affordable energy across India. Pretty darn cool. So that is
really cool. India is prime for energy development, and I think you're going to see, and I think one of the themes that you've touched on a lot, which is LNG, is going to be prime for them.
And I just applaud the leadership in India to get them energy as much as possible across to everybody. Hey, another one that came through on the Supreme Court. This one's U.S., but it is LNG. It's natural gas out of the Marcellus. The environmental group Sahara Club had put a stop to the $7.5 billion pipeline And this pipeline is now able to go through again, and it's able to go from Maine to Georgia to get Marcellus United States gas to our market. Yay, U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah, no, good ruling on that front. And there was a lot of stuff on my desk that flew by today. I mentioned before the show, one of the biggest themes that we mentioned on the 360 Digital Closing Bell podcast was impending bankruptcies coming this week. And there's a lot of different news to drop. As everybody knows, Extraction Oil and Gas, which is one of Colorado's major producers, filed for Chapter 11 protection this morning. They're saddled with about $1.5 million in long-term debt. But what they were able to do was announce that they have secured $125 million financing plan that's going to provide $50 million in new money immediately to help see them through bankruptcy and continue operations as soon as the UN's bankruptcy court order. So XOG, or Extraction Resources, falls. Another one bites the dust. We need a little phrase that we can pop in, like a little Roadrunner. That's when we're about to roll out some new software tomorrow. Maybe we'll see if we can get another one bites the dust stuff. Along the bankruptcy note, we mentioned on the podcast, California Resources Corporation last night was supposed to come to a decision on whether or not they were going to default and have to file for Chapter 11. They were able to reach an agreement today that was announced at 9:00 on Sunday. That they're going to getting an extension to pay all of those loans. So they now have another 15 days to pay for June 30th. So again, we'll continue to follow what's happening. Remember, they are I don't have their debt numbers up in front of me, but it's about $600 million in convertible notes over the next 12 months they need to come up with, and cash flows don't look good for them. So it's at least good that they're giving this extension, but I don't know if it necessarily changes their outcome. The other, on the other end, we've actually sort of, the other news desk that came across is sort of the other end of the spectrum when we talk about how do you raise cash in these times, maybe by unconventional means. Well, there's this idea of what's called an overriding royalty interest, which is basically if you have a stable decline curve and you want to basically sell percentages of your future oil production, well, you can do that. And it's sort of called an overriding royalty interest. And Antero Resources announced the closing of one of those today, an ORRI transaction with Sixth Street Partners that will result in proceeds of up to $400 million, $402 million. But what's $2 million between friends? So it's going to provide $300 million outstanding right away, with another $100 million set to come. But basically what this does is, if you actually look at the fine details, it's 1.25% of all overriding royalty payment and all production for a set period that they didn't tell us the start date, but any wells drilled up to March 23rd, and then anything after March 23rd to some unspecified period, which they don't necessarily say, it's 3.5 percentage points. So that gives you an idea on how, if you're, different ways these operators can raise cash, override to royalty interest. Range Resources Corporation, as we noted, did that 2 times, 2018, 2019. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. It's a very interesting way, and this could be something to move forward. But bankruptcies are the theme of the day. I'm also seeing some news drop about Cabot Oil and Gas. They actually got charged over some contamination in conjunction with that movie Gasland, but we'll need to read the more details on that. We'll get back to you for a more full report there. Stu, that's about everything I got on my news desk. You got anything else for these guys?
No, just excited about our new stuff going on. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, please check out the 360 News Desk on the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com. It is the best place to stay tapped in to the energy markets. And with that, we're going to go ahead and let you guys get back to work. Thank you for checking out the 360 Digital Closing Bell. We'll see you guys tomorrow.